and welcome to the Super Important Show. I am one of your hosts, Dustin Diodato. How are you doing? Welcome to our new YouTube home. That's fun. It's higher quality. There's going to be fun, different things. I hope you're going to enjoy it because it was a lot of work to get us over here. So, let me introduce you to the other amazing folks that we have with us. First, let me introduce the wonderful Heather Jules Booth. Heather Jules Booth, how are you?
I'm great. How's everyone? Hi, everybody.
And our special guest for the evening, you've seen her before, you know her, you love her. She is my wife, so hands off. It is Joy Masters. Hello, Joy Masters.
Hi. Yeah, sorry, Heather. You know what? We can talk after. That's fine.
Is that how we're rolling? Is that what we're doing?
That's how it happens.
Okay. Good to know. We're a little bit late, so I think we should probably just get right into it, right? With our very first segment, which of course is World You Crazy. And I think, Heather, we're going to you first, right?
Oh, you are, and I hate this story so much.
Oh, no.
Oh no, why?
No. When I say I hate it, it's just I don't hate it like, not like one of those ones. I'll explain. Okay, here we go, everybody. Welcome. Our first story today. Here's the headline: Taste the TV. Japan invents a lickable screen to imitate food flavors. If you haven't already guessed, it's the words lickable screen that I take umbrage with, because holy, why?
You've never wanted to lick your TV screen?
No, never, ever. Have you ever got? Okay, let's read this story and then we'll talk about this.
Okay.
A Japanese professor developed a prototype lickable TV screen that imitates food flavors. It has been named Taste the TV, abbreviated TTTV. Already, I'm like, okay. It uses a carousel of 10 flavor canisters that spray in combination to create the taste of a particular food. This flavor is then rolled out on a hygienic film over a flat screen TV for the viewer to try. Now, this article says, in the COVID-19 era, and I thought it was going to say ... licking things on a TV screen is a bad idea. But in fact, what it says is, in the COVID-19 era, this kind of technology will enhance the way people connect and interact with the outside world. I don't agree with that. It says the goal is to make it possible for people to have the experience of something like eating at a restaurant on the other side of the world, even while staying at home, which I think is a lovely and very noble cause. This is a great idea. I just I can't get behind. You're licking a screen.
Yes.
It's not a food.
Do you want the image? I have the image of a person licking the screen.
Absolutely. Please share this image. Yeah, this image is all the horrifying things that we've been told not to do for the past 2 or so years. Right.
Wow. That's so weird.
Right?
Can I ask a question? Did you say, this is like a public TV screen? This isn't a home TV screen?
The article was not particularly clear. I assume that right now it's a test, like a testing thing, as opposed to a public one. But I think that the idea is that it would be public, which... Get it? Don't get it?
No.
Question for chat. Chat, would you lick your TV screen? Is that something that you would want to do? Do you lick your TV screen independently of all of this?
No.
Well, also, and forgive me if you said this, but are they showing you the food on the screen and then you get to taste it?
That's the assumption.
I didn't say it because it doesn't really tell you in the article. It just says that you ask what you want. I guess you punch it in Star Trek style, or maybe you walk up and you go, give me hamburger. And then these little spray thingies spray this flavor combination, and then you lick it on a hygienic film. I opened this story to read it earlier, and I was like, are you kidding me? And then, as I said, when it said in this COVID-19 era, I was like, yeah, correct, in this COVID-19. And then I was like, oh no, it's actually praising this. It's not saying this is a bad idea, don't do it.
Uh,
Just
we did already get one. We already did get one response from chat. From Miss
what?
Michelle
Don't
Drozdick. Yeah, saying
don't
that
lick
she
your TV screen.
no that she
No.
already licks her TV screen. That she is pro
What?
TV screen licking
Oh my
For the
god.
chaos, I'm sure.
for the chaos. I'm
For the
assuming
chaos,
because it
yeah,
is because
for
it
the
is
chaos.
Michelle, but still.
I was gonna say, and I don't actually, because like I haven't gotten close to a TV screen in a long time. But so when I was
in terms
a kid,
of making out with one, you mean?
no, yeah, exactly. In terms of making out with one. But when I was a kid, I do remember like before I realized that I couldn't see and I had to get glasses, I would actually get like too close to the TV screen to try and sit near it. And I cannot forget what it smelled like. Like it had this really strong, weird, like electrical smell. So I also like when I read this story, I was like, I don't want to get close to a screen. I'm sure they don't do that anymore because technology has changed, but
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and it used to be like I would touch the TV screen for whatever reason, and it was like prickly or like static.
Yeah,
So
that's not the
I
case
don't-
anymore.
I don't-
Dustin is like, you're all wrong. That's not the case.
Yeah, but that's not how TVs work now. Like that, you're talking. I agree. Yeah. Although Andy makes a good point. Andy was so close to hosting with us. He was in the
You know
chat.
what? Andy just needed to lick a flavored TV screen, and maybe it would have worked.
But Andy makes a good point that he thinks it's better in a VR headset rather than a TV screen, which makes sense. But Andy, I don't know if you've done VR recently. Like you're basically just like you'd be blindly licking things, which feels like a really good way for your friends to like fuck with you. It feels like a real bred frat situation is all I'm saying.
But what's to say this computer can't fuck with you though? Like what if the computer just breaks and you're like pizza and instead it gives you like something terrible? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that there's like, you know, the way there's like the laws of like robotics that says like a computer cannot harm you? Like, I wonder if it's like a computer cannot make fart smells or like a computer cannot like
maybe
do certain
But
things that
also-
are like a clear punishment.
But like also computers are susceptible to viruses. So let's be real. Someone would figure out how to give that a virus or hack that real fast.
Yeah,
That's true.
100%. Yeah. Also, so a friend of mine at work had beanies, every flavor. You know, Beanie Bots?
Oh, Bernie Bots, the
Thank you.
flavored jelly beans from Harry
Yes.
Potter. Yeah.
Yes. So they have like all the gross ones, like snot and vomit and dirt, I think was one of them.
No, thank you.
But for sure, someone's going to mess with it and say, all right, anytime someone asks for pizza, it's going to taste like a fart or it's going to taste like dirt or whatever it is, like something super gross. There's no way that nobody's going to mess with it.
Yeah, of course.
Not mess with it. You know what I mean?
I got you.
Oh, if it can exist, it will be hacked.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think like, I wouldn't, maybe I'm a Luddite, but I don't think I would go to a TV for flavor. I would go to my kitchen or a store or I don't know.
First of all, I just need to say thank you for using the word Luddite because it's not used enough. And it's such a good word. But also, I'm in agreement, and I am obviously a fellow Luddite because I too am not like, wow, I really want to know what that tastes like. I would love to lick my TV to get that experience.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't like watch cooking shows. So like, for me, it's not a thing that would come up all that often anyway. You know, like I'm not like, you know, I'm not ever watching like CSI and thinking I want to lick that. I want to taste whatever.
I hope not.
So like it does like Joy and I basically only watch shows where like somebody gets murdered at the end and they figure out or somebody gets murdered in the beginning and they figure out who murdered the person at the end. Like or people in Europe talk. That's the other. Joy watches those shows, and I watch the murder ones and occasionally hockey. And I definitely don't want to lick hockey.
I don't think any of these things would taste good. No.
Yeah. So,
No.
So I guess that's a vote no for all of us on a lickable.
It's once again, it's like just because you can do the science doesn't mean you should do the science.
Right.
Many things in life.
Yeah. The Jurassic Park principle.
Mm-hmm.
As is often referred to. All right, cool. So that brings us to item number 2, which, as you would imagine, because we always have to do an animal one, we can't not do an animal one. So this time we're talking about animals and that they're cheaters. Because apparently, a little while back, they had a beauty contest for camels in Saudi Arabia, as you do, and a bunch of those camels got kicked out of the contest for using Botox, because apparently that's a big thing, and there's like a bunch of experts that know really well what it looks like to Botox a camel. So they got kicked out, and now they're that much more stringent. Unfortunately, I was not able to find any of the Botox camels for us to look at. Heather?
I have a question.
Okay.
What part of the camel is being Botoxed?
I'm assuming the face. I'm gonna go.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the face. Like here, like that's a sexy camel, and I'm assuming that like, you know, I don't know exactly where on that camel's face you would Botox it.
I mean, I've seen people walking around New York City who look like this, and they've definitely had work done. So, yeah.
But I mean, it like Botox normally would indicate that you have wrinkles, and I'm not sure where like the wrinkles specifically are. Like I mean, maybe it's just because this is a beautiful camel, is what the assumption is.
These camels are too beautiful, Dustin. We can't see the flaws.
Right. Maybe that's a problem. Maybe I chose the hottest camel.
And they truly are being Botox like for aesthetic value, and it's not like a health thing or like a thing that gives them an advantage to win this contest. Like it's strictly aesthetic.
It's strictly aesthetic, yes. And a bunch of them got busted. Like a lot. Like it was like over a dozen got busted for Botoxing. Like it seemed like, from everything that I saw in the article, it seemed like a lot of what they're doing is testing this. Like a lot of, like before they judge, they make sure that this camel is naturally beautiful, as opposed to like work done beautiful. Even though we don't do that for like humans, like, but apparently it's really important in the camel community that the
what happens when those
naturally beautiful.
So what happens when those two camels have a baby camel, and then the baby camel doesn't look like the parent camels? 'Cause I've read about that stuff in the human world.
Yeah, I mean, but would you know? Like, I guess I don't know enough of the characteristics of a camel to know.
I don't either.
Like,
no.
Well, they probably give Botox immediately to the baby, so they're prepping it for future beauty contests. My first thought, and I'm a little ashamed of this, is that I wanted to know what those camels tasted like. And I hate to admit that. I was like, God, they look so fuzzy and soft. I wonder if they taste like vanilla.
See?
So you just wish you had a lickable.
We're 8 seconds away from the story, and the first thing Joy wants to do is lick the screen.
Is lick the screen. Yeah.
So you put it in my head, and now I want it.
Yeah.
I mean, now I'm just. Oh wait, here we go. Before and after camel Botox.
Show us.
Let me see if I found a legitimate.
I don't know how we would show Heather's screen. Is the only problem.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
You can tell us.
You'll just know. Yeah. I mean, you can throw it in chat so that everybody at home can see.
Oh, I think it's their mouths.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I think they're giving them Botox based on this picture. Oh, so, okay, here are the beauty standards that camels must live up to. Shiny coat, clearly a definable color, long, lean neck, body with a hump that is long and strong, a hump that is big, well-proportioned, and in standard position close to the back of its body. The head should be upright and big, but in proportion. And judges want, here it is, a pouty and pendulous lip, with the upper lip having a cleft.
Okay.
Those are the legitimate standards of camel beauty. So that is where they are Botoxing them to get that pendulous. Yeah, there we go.
So based on that, which of these camels would you say is the
I'm thinking both might be actually.
Okay.
Because the pictures that I was looking at in this story, the camels, the before camels had like floppy lips. They didn't have these like plump looking, like Real Housewife camel faces, basically. Yeah.
So these are some supermodels.
I believe so. I believe we are looking at camel beauty standards, the impossible camel beauty standards.
Or as Andy wanted to mention, they both have a hump that won't quit.
Yeah, in proportion and in the correct location, apparently.
Yep.
So weird. What a strange story.
Yeah. So if you're looking for a new career, and you wanna get involved in camel judging or camel Botoxing, those are apparently both very legitimate careers. Because I guess that happens in Saudi Arabia a lot, and you should all go there and experience
judge some camels.
Yeah, judge some camels.
Yeah. I mean, it would be a really good talking point, though, if you like take a friend there and you don't tell them that you're aware this is a thing, and then you like walk by some camels and you're like, look at that one. She's had work done. Your friend's like, what?
Like, I know.
It's like you're like, oh, I know some things.
Yeah, I mean, we're all more camel experts than we were before the show started.
Like 5 minutes ago, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So just you know, like, you're welcome, everybody out there, for all of the camel knowledge. We want to get into our third story. Or do we have more on this? I mean,
I'm good.
I mean, no show would be complete without a story about penises. And I think we know that because we've never done a show without some stories about penises, especially when we had Michelle Drostek on. We just did, I think, a show most exclusively about penises. This one isn't so much about penises specifically, but about the things around them. Because as Florida men do, they do Florida things. And in this case, there was a story about a man who got pulled over by the cops. What was his name? I got the notes about it here somewhere.
Gator McGatorson?
No, Patrick Florence. His name was Patrick Florence. He was in a car with his buddy. They were driving around. The cops pulled them over because it was 4 a.m. and they didn't have their lights on, which is suspicious. And when they frisked the gentleman, Patrick Florence, who was actually the passenger in the car, they discovered that he had a bunch of meth, a bunch of cocaine in bags wrapped around his penis. To which his response was, "That's not mine. I don't know where that came from. Somebody clearly snuck in, wrapped a bunch of drugs around my penis, did not tell me about it, and I didn't notice it until the cop showed up and called me out on it."
Come on.
Right. There's not a whole lot to this story, admittedly, other than the fact that this happened, and I don't understand. Like, I admire, I guess, now in the post-truth era of like just pretend it didn't happen. You can turn around to the cops and go, "Those aren't mine." But like,
it's not mine. But
give me a story. Like, you can't just like shaggy it and expect me to like believe it. Like, you have to give me something, some viable excuse. And this person gave no viable excuse. I believe they did not get away with it, but I don't know if it is 100% gone to trial
what?
yet. So,
really? No.
I know, it's shocking. It's shocking, but
I mean, it's Florida. At the very least, as I said earlier, there should have been some kind of gator joke, like a gator showed up and it threw these on my penis. Yeah.
Or there was a hurricane and they just blew it onto my penis.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
hurricanes, guys.
I'll be honest with you. Joy and I have been together since 2001. This is the first time she said a hurricane blew something onto her penis. And I did not ever expect that sentence in that order would ever happen.
Well, that's Florida for you, bringing out the surprises.
Yes. I mean, in defense of all that, Joy used to be on a team called Florida Man, So maybe she's just
So,
capable of really like harnessing all the crazy that happens in Florida.
yeah, I rehearsed being a Florida man.
Yeah. And we did hang out with your brother, who is a Florida man, but not a Florida man in the way that Florida men are
Right.
Florida men. He
Right.
just
He's
lives in Florida.
originally a northerner, so he's kind of exempt from all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was in Clearwater, Florida, I believe it was. So, yeah. So
Is that an
that's
extra
all.
Florida part of Florida?
Actually, no. Like the most Florida part of Florida is the northern part of Florida. Like northern Florida is like crazy Florida, but like the lower part is normally okay. This was right near Tampa Bay, or not Tampa. Yeah, maybe Tampa. I don't know. It's like in the middle part. Like if this is I don't know. I need a diagram. Okay, if this is the part of Florida, it's like hanging down, right? It's like right here.
Is that
Right
the
here.
Gulf side?
It's on the Gulf side, like halfway down.
Okay.
So
Thank you for the visual.
it's not as like super Florida as it could be.
Half Florida.
But it's
Semi-Florida.
somewhat Florida. Yeah.
So I guess as a warning to people, if you do have something wrapped around your penis, the cops are going to assume that it's yours, because like 'cause otherwise how did it get
could
there?
they? What?
That's good. That's good advice. Good information to have.
Yeah. So
And two different types of drugs too.
right, yeah, which is admirable. And I'm assuming, ladies, because I don't want to leave you out. I'm assuming if they find something, they're going to assume that it's yours as well.
Yeah.
I don't want to,
And
it's a family show, except it's not. But
and,
it's a
and
family
we
show.
will absolutely say the same thing. Like, those aren't mine. I don't know how those got there. What?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I said, what? I am but a hen laying eggs, and I have no idea what this is. I don't know.
Okay, so I have a question for both of you, and for Chad. Chad, please help us out here.
So
Which
nervous about this question.
which is more plausible? That a person could have drugs wrapped around their penis and not know about them, or a lady have like that same amount of drugs visiting her and not know about it. My assumption is that it's less plausible for a guy, but I've never I don't know about lady parts. So I'm curious.
Married
Curious
to Joyce is
what you guys have.
2001. They don't know about lady parts.
No, I mean
Jokes write themselves.
I know about lady parts. Okay, I know. What I'm saying is, like, I've never had a lady part, so I don't know. Like, I don't know what it's like
Keep digging.
inside the lady. Like,
Keep digging.
that's all I'm saying.
Just stop saying. Just stop saying.
Stop saying words.
Stop saying lady parts. I mean, I don't really know, because I think the only plausible excuse both genders could make would just be some kind of like, this is going to be a little dark, so trigger warning, dark, but like, someone slipped me something, I passed out, I don't know how it got there. But you could really say that for either gender. And that to me is the only plausible way someone could try and be like, hey, I don't know that these drugs are here. Because otherwise, like, you're gonna know they're there either way.
I'm gonna say I've never had a man part, but if lady parts are made, now I'm saying it a lot, are made to let other humans like pass through on their way to being alive. So I think that there's more give in there if we're talking scientifically. Whereas with a gentleman part, I mean, it's right there. I would be surprised if you didn't notice. It's like, or if there's something jingling, or there's something else rubbing against.
It's jingling.
But there's another thing that we're not considering here. Okay, let's say let's say that for a lady, you can kind of, like I said, have it go for a visit and stay there, and not much has to happen. But for a guy to like wrap drugs around his penis, like, he has to be somewhat engaged with that process because I feel like if he didn't maintain a certain amount of arousal, the bag of drugs will fall off, won't they? Like,
well,
like,
it depends. Are they a drug shower or a drug grower? I don't know.
I mean, that's fair. Fair.
But the important questions.
I forgot. I have a picture of this.
This
dude.
is our first night on YouTube. Please don't get us banned.
No, it's not bad. Hold on, let me find the picture. So he looks exactly like a guy who would have drugs around it. Like, he's kind of got that, like, look at me, I'm like a silly man.
He looks very happy. I mean, he looks very happy.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of looks like a guy who's like, I know.
Yeah,
I get it.
Honestly, that's exactly what this picture is. This picture is like, yeah, I said it. I did it.
You got me.
Yeah,
I did it. You got me. They were on my penis.
I tried to get away with it.
Yeah, I didn't get away with it, but I tried.
Florida.
Like, so fine. Like, oh well, here I am.
Like, I did it.
All right.
I got his mugshot and not something else because I was a little worried when he started.
I was also a little concerned.
Right. No. I
thought it was going to be like a blurred out picture with like.
I'm picturing little tiny presents wrapped around it. I don't know why, but like.
I don't know why I'm so in my mind's eye. So in my mind's eye, I'm picturing like an LED light strip, except it's like drugs instead of the LED lights. That's how I'm picturing it. And that I'm sticking to that as my mental image.
Okay. All right.
Probably more practical.
Noted.
Than my tiny presents.
I like your tiny presents, though.
All right. Let's get into our next segment, which is what day is today, or whatever we decided to call it is. I don't remember who's going first.
Today? I have a whole bunch of days. I have for today.
Okay.
For today, January 3rd, we have two important days. We have Humiliation Day, which, unlike what you think it represents, actually represents being humble and having humility and relinquishing having like too much pride and being sort of arrogant, basically. And it has its origins in Protestant Christianity, make of that what you will, where it means to leave one's pride behind and come as equal human beings before God. I said, make of that what you will. But it is basically, it's based in humility, and it's from the 1700s, as opposed to what I thought, of course, at first, which was humiliate your neighbor day or something like that.
Yeah,
but it also...
Sorry. Yeah. I assumed it was like a BDSM holiday. Like, I assumed that it was like...
Okay, that's where you went. I just went to like throw an egg in someone's face, but
yeah,
there we go.
I assumed that it was like, I assumed that like a GIMP was involved. I assumed like there was like...
Wow, Dustin.
Whole kind of thing.
Wow. I don't think we say that anymore, Dustin. I'm just saying. I think that we do not. I think we don't use that term anymore. Okay, but I'm not positive.
Right. That's fair. I will stop. I only know it. I only know it as like it's like a person who's wearing one of those masks.
1800s and 1800s. Like, so, yes.
Yeah.
Not gonna. I will say.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. I will say that Humiliation Day, as I'm reading at the end of this, has become more secular, and it says that instead of it being like a godly day, it's become a day to just do charitable causes and do things that are like acts of humanity and kindness. So that's cool.
Yay.
Yeah.
So it started out as a weird BDSM thing in my mind, and then it actually was
in
a
your
really
mind.
Good day.
Yep. And then I read it and I was like, oh, it's a God thing. And then it was like, but really, it doesn't have to be a God thing. It can be just a like be nice to people thing. But basically, it's steeped in being nice, opposed to not being nice. Yeah.
Okay. And then the second part of it.
Yeah. Our second January 3rd day is awesome. It's called Women Rock. And it is not just celebrating that women do in fact rock. It is also celebrating women who are pioneers and or rock stars, women who've contributed to the rock genre. Some notable ones that I was reading about, they were speaking about Janis Joplin, Pat Benatar, Chrissie Hynde, Joan Jett, Tina Turner, and Aretha Franklin, who was, of course, the first female Hall of Famer in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And so it's a day to celebrate all the contributions that women have made to rock, because there are many. A lot of them have made contributions to rock, and it's not just a men's genre.
Cool.
So I love that.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that too, because at first I was like, "Oh, women rock!" It's like, "Yay, ladies!" And then I was like, "Oh, wait, it actually is about like women in rock."
Yeah,
Very
that's
cool.
today. So we should all be celebrating it.
It is today, so
Yeah.
everyone make
Yeah.
sure afterwards to find some women rockers and celebrate them.
I didn't know that Aretha Franklin was the first woman nominated into the Hall of Fame.
But into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Cool, right?
Yeah, that's very cool. It's good to know.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
ashamed I didn't already.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go listen to some of that and some other ladies who rock.
Yeah. Rockin' ladies. So now we move on to January 4th, which has a few other holidays. We have World Hypnotism Day. I have, ever since I was a child, had an irrational fear of hypnotism. I don't know why. It scares the living daylights out of me. Just the concept of it. It gives me the heebie-jeebies. So this holiday, celebrating it, it's not. I'm not going to celebrate it at all, because I'm getting creepy crawlies just thinking about it. Let's see. Many religious people believed hypnotism was steeped in the occult. I don't even know why. I just creepies. But it is intended as like a way to reduce stress and to perhaps help people with things like quitting smoking or like psychotherapy, reducing anxiety, phobias. I didn't see this part. It says misconceptions include that it's a state of unconscious sleep, mind control, brainwashing. Maybe that's why it creeps me out. Weakening the mind. Only a hypnotist can induce hypnosis. This is how to observe this day. Many hypnotherapists offer free semi-private sessions. I'm going to say no thank you to that, but yes, semi-private, exactly. That is the phrase. So I guess you have to share with some people. Only semi-private. Yeah, that's a little strange, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for pointing that out, because that is a little strange. So that's that day. So anyone who wants to celebrate that day, obviously, please feel free. I will support and say good for you. And then we have a great day to celebrate, which is World Braille Day.
Now you would think that I would agree with you on that. I don't.
You know?
Right.
Okay. All right. Let me tell you real fast.
Okay.
It is January 4th. We're celebrating Louis Braille's birthday, the inventor of Braille. He did this writing system to help make it easier for people to read. Now, this says it's worth celebrating because it's a reminder of the importance of accessibility and independence for people who may be blind or visually impaired. But Dustin, I'm going to turn it over to you because I want to hear about your hot take on this.
So, first, I like the concept behind Braille. I like the fact that Braille exists. So I'm in support of things that support the blind and visually impaired. Like I get it. Braille, what a lot of people don't realize is Braille's like fucked up in a way that people don't know. In the sense that like people just go like, well, this stands for A, and this stands for B, and this stands for C. Not necessarily. You don't know, because there's multiple forms of Braille. There's like an English Braille, and then there's a European Braille, and then there's casual like letter Braille, and there's like condensed sentence Braille. I think there's like 4 different versions of Braille, and there's no way to know which one you're reading. So like if you are a blind person out in the world and you come across a Braille thing, you have to figure out from context what you're reading, like, which is already hard enough. Like they couldn't just get everybody to agree that like this is what Braille is. Like there's a fighting in the Braille community that is like does not agree as to what like 2 dots means or 3 dots means or whatever kind of thing. So like it's hard enough to happen upon Braille. Like as a person who is like vaguely wants to learn it, like there's always that part of me that like every time I go to like in my elevator, because it's hard for me to see, what the numbers are. I was like, I'm going to figure out this whole Braille thing. It's so much easier for me to feel the number on the button than it is for me to read the Braille, because it's also very tiny and difficult. And if you're cold, it's fucking impossible. Like, if you're wearing gloves, it's impossible. Like, Braille is a weird thing that is good, but in practicality, it can be very, very, very frustrating. And now that there's more speaking kind of things, like there's a part of it that makes it less like not useful, because it's still incredibly useful. Like if you're a fully blind person, yay. But like nowadays I feel like we should be moving more towards like things that speak to you, things that like tell you what's happening, because again, like I'm sure that like folks have seen that like on the stairwell there's a little, like by the stairwell there's a little Braille, there's a sign and it's got Braille on it. It's like, you're never gonna find that sign, and then even if you find that sign, you don't know which language it's in, so you still have to figure out like what it is. So like I think sometimes Braille can be a thing that like makes people feel good, but like doesn't actually have the use case that visually impaired people want it to have. I just wanted to rant about that. It's not funny. It's just like a thing that people don't know, that like Braille is not as simple as it seems. Like I think with like sign language, there's a universal agreement that like this is what tree is and this is what house is, and that is not the case with Braille. So it's a good day. I'm glad that Braille exists, but we have actually a long way to go for Braille to be as useful as it could/should be. So I did not know that. So that is a today I learned. Thank you. Yeah,
like I did not know there were more types of Braille.
Yeah, it's weird. It wasn't until I started like researching it that I was just like, fuck me, like this, like. And you bring up a good point. Like I see on groups that I follow on Facebook, more and more people now putting visual descriptions of like photos for, I guess, people who are visually impaired who have like reading. I guess they have a reading setting. Yeah. And it'll say like in the picture, a picture of a cat, and the cat is eating food, which seems like very modern.
Yeah. I've noticed that a lot lately too. It seems pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just Andy pointing out, apparently there are dozens of forms of sign language. So I did not know that.
Oh.
So apparently sign language is just as screwed up as Braille can be. So yeah. So now we learned a lot of things today. Do we want to get into our third set of days?
Yeah, I think it's time.
Okay.
Right. It's all you.
Okay. So, all right. 3 days. We got January 7th is 3 different days. Harlem Globetrotters Day, which I'm going to go ahead and be honest, I don't think deserve a day. I think the Harlem Globetrotters are fun. I think they're, it's enjoyable, but like they cheat, like they're like the game's clearly rigged. Otherwise the other team would have won. It's a scam. So like, I guess we'll give it to them because like, don't get me wrong. What they do is very, very difficult, and it's fun to have them play with little kids. I just don't know that you get a day for that, but I'm cranky today. So clearly I'm having some issues. So
just wrap some drugs around your dick. Jeez.
Yeah.
They're not mine. We have old rock day, because sometimes you just want to look at a rock that's really old. And if you are one of those people, come to our apartment, because we have a lot of rocks in our apartment. I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just saying Joy likes to collect rocks. We have a bunch of cool rocks in our apartment, and they're old.
Joy is also a woman who rocks. So there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm getting that look.
That rock right next to me.
Yeah.
The rocks. These are really cool rocks. You can't tell on this TV, but they're cool rocks.
I see some cool markings on that rock.
I'll show you next time you're over in person. It's really cool.
Right. See, so why the look of like, what the hell? Because like we have actual cool rocks. I'm saying January 7th is a day to look at old rocks, and you should come to our apartment and look at our rocks. That's all I'm saying. If you're out there on the internet, come to our apartment and look at our rocks.
I did. Don't invite strangers to your apartment to look at rocks.
Yeah, they don't know our address.
They're gonna show up.
Sure. No.
They're gonna rock. They're gonna rocks you. Be careful.
Yeah. And the reason we picked this day as one of the day is January 7th is also National Pass Gas Day, where don't be embarrassed about it on this day. Just go ahead and do it out.
Let it rip.
Call it. Let people know. Giggle about it the way people giggle about farts. And it's that's the day to do it.
Or be real proud about it and just be like, look, it's the National Day of Farts. So
yeah,
I'm just celebrating.
Yeah, we all do it.
Yeah, well, I mean, yes, that is true. We all do. I just know that I am the type of person who, even on this day, is embarrassed and will not do it. And I've never been one of those dudes who farts and then high fives their friend or something like that. I will giggle about it, but I will never be the person who is calling people in, or that old pull my finger kind of person. I will
calling people in. What for
yes.
the memory of the fart? Come on in.
Yeah, sometimes no. They're
you guys need to just experience the air of what just happened.
Right, there are people that do that. I'm telling you right now, as the only guy on this, I'm telling you right now, people do that, and it's not good. It's not pleasant. It's not something that we should be doing, but it happens. And I guess on this day of all days, this is the day to do it if you want to do it. So
I do it.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'll show myself out.
I always laugh. I always laugh when someone says if you do something or it's their duty. Duty's another one too. So
thank you.
Every time.
Vinny suggested we celebrate all three on January 7th by ripping one while spitting a rock on your finger. That is in fact an appropriate way to celebrate that day, January 7th. So
nice, Vinny. Thanks.
Yeah, good job. All right, while we're here, if you're watching, you've probably already subscribed and clicked the little bell on the YouTube page. But if you haven't, subscribe and click the little bell on the YouTube page so you know that when we're airing, which will basically be around this time. But it's still good to know. It's still good to get that reminder. It's still good to do all that stuff so that you never forget what's happening. So anyway, let us move on to Would You Rather, which I believe, Heather, you are our Would You Rather leader.
I am the Would You Rather leader. So our first Would You Rather question today is, would you rather be a wolf or a bear?
Ooh.
Joy, I think I'm going to throw that to you based on that response.
No, I think that's an excellent question. I find it hard just because they're both super cool animals. And they, wolves, probably I would go with wolf just because I think they can run faster than bears, and that's kind of cool. But bears, I don't know. Bears are strong and respected, and they hibernate, and I like to do that. I think I'd still go with a wolf. I'd go with a wolf because they're pack animals, and so family-oriented, basically. And they can run, and they love the moon, and I love the moon, so I'm going to go with wolf.
Okay.
What about you guys?
Dustin, I mean, it's my question, so I think, Dustin, you got to go next.
Okay, so I would say for a very simple reason, I would go with wolf, because wolves don't get hunted as much as bears do. I think generally people don't, other than maybe bears, people don't fuck with wolves. So, I don't think they have, a whole ton of natural predators, but, I also think that, hunters, I very rarely see a hunter bring a wolf back. But I do see hunters bring bears back. I guess on TV, I've never seen either of them in reality. But as far as TV has taught me, is that you're more likely to hunt a bear. Whereas wolves will hang out, they'll howl at the moon, they get on T-shirts. It seems like wolf is a better. There's a better life experience. They don't have to sit in a river and try and catch a fish and all that. I don't need that in my life. So I'm gonna go wolf.
Welcome.
Heather?
Yeah, I think I'm also going with wolf, and pretty much the same, kind of leaning towards what you said, Dustin, of like, people don't fuck with wolves as much. Like
Mhm.
you don't see people who are like trying to fight with wolves if a wolf shows up. Like, let's say you're out camping and a wolf shows up. Like you don't really hear about people being like, yeah, I tried to fight that. No, they don't try to
Yeah.
fight the wolf. Whereas like dumb people try to fight bears. So it's like,
Mhm.
I don't want some dumb picnicking person trying to like fight me because I'm a bear, and I'm like, oh no, I just stumbled on your picnic.
Yeah, and apparently
And
there's
also
like
wolves are like fast; they can run fast and stuff. Yeah,
Exactly.
there is some saying, and I don't remember what it is. There is some saying because like there are some people who are like, oh, you should get big or you should like play dead or whatever, and like the different types of bears have different reactions that you should do. You know, I mean, like I don't know what it is, so I don't want to get us in trouble. Um,
with the bears that are watching, with the bear community.
no,
Like,
I don't want
how
somebody. I don't want
dare
somebody
you.
to take my advice. Because, you know, but I think like with one of the bears you're supposed to play dead. With one of the bears you're supposed to like get big, and one of the bears you're supposed to run. But if you get it wrong, then you get eaten. Right.
I just feel like you're telling the like weird alternate timeline Goldilocks story.
No, it's true. It's a thing. I don't know.
I know, it was a funny pattern of things that you just said, and it made me laugh.
It's a thing, guys.
In the end, Goldilocks was eaten.
Yeah, in the end, Goldilocks was eaten because she did not do any of the correct things.
So, also, I think a lot of people like to mess with the biggest person in the room. Sort of like, you know, in walking down the street, big tall people will get harassed by smaller people because they want to prove their mettle. So I feel like that's what bears get a lot because they're bigger. Like, oh, you're a bear? I'm not scared of you. I'm going to take you out. And you're like, no, that's not. Don't do that.
And I think Vinny has the definitive word on this, and that Wolf, because you have natural skills at basketball, as Teen Wolf has taught us.
Exactly.
Like, for some reason, becoming
Classic.
a werewolf makes you incredibly good at basketball, and nobody really knows why. Like, how did that become a thing? Like wolves in nature, like, don't play sports. I don't understand how any of this happened. So anyway, that's our first question. Question number 2 is this. I could do this one if you would like. Question number 2 is, okay, you have 2 choices here. It's a complicated word question. But like, would you rather definitely know if there's an afterlife, or be comfortably wealthy for the rest of your life but never know whether or not there's an afterlife? And I'm gonna send it over to Heather because it's weird. And I'm putting her on the spot because Joy didn't know she was going to be on the show until 5 minutes before we went on air, so.
Listen, just call me Scrooge because I would much rather be comfortably wealthy. As I have said many times on this podcast, we live in an era where money makes things easier, and I definitively, like, I honestly don't care if they're like, you're dead. Whatever happens, you're dead. Even if there's an afterlife, it's probably not going to be the experience of like life the way you know it. So like, I don't know. I don't care. Like that. I just don't. I don't. Whereas I would much rather like be able to improve my life materially.
Okay. Well, I mean,
and like not materially, you know what I mean? But just like things that make life easier.
Like, I think Michelle sums it up really well here, saying, "I'd rather know there's an afterlife if the answer is yes." Like,
yes, interesting.
Like if you know, but like, because it's a double kick in the nuts. If you like, if the answer is no, then you're like, well, now I'm not wealthy, and I don't know. Like,
but what if you don't want there to be an afterlife? Like, what if you would rather just like, that's it?
Click
you're
out.
Dead, and you're dead. That's it. You don't have to worry about all this shit anymore. I'm being dark today. Sorry, guys.
Yes. No. It's a weird episode. A weird episode, especially for our first one on YouTube.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I will say personally, I'm not obsessed with the concept of having to eternally exist and know that Like, I don't need to, I personally don't feel like I need to know that there's a consciousness after I die. If I die and it's just eternal blackness and it's nothing, that's fine.
That's horrifying to me.
That's fair. I respect that. Yeah.
Joy, what do you think?
Well, I have a very strong curiosity, but Heather made a really good point. It's like whether or not there is an afterlife, there's not a whole lot you can do about it now. Like, depending on if there's like rules and if you be a good person, then you'll get into heaven kind of thing. But you're only going to know that there's an afterlife. It doesn't say whether or not you're going to know what kind of afterlife it is. A, and B, you should just live your best life anyway, because this is, as far as we know, the only one that we've got. So, although I'm really curious, I think I have to, especially since Heather went and everything she said made so much sense, I'm going to go on the wealthy path and then just do good.
Right. As much as I joke like, oh, I'm going to be Scrooge here and stay comfortably wealthy, I don't mean like, and then use the money for bad and be like a terrible person. But yeah.
Yeah, but live so that you have your life and you can live your life to the fullest. Because
which in turn will probably make you more like generous and relaxed and caring and whatnot.
Yeah.
You don't think there would be a part of you that would be less likely to be like moral if you knew that like you just clicked out at the end?
No,
because you're still leaving an impression. I mean,
I'm not. If I do good, like if I am doing nice things, it's not because I'm like trying to please some afterlife thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go against you guys. I want to know if there's an afterlife.
Dustin's going with afterlife. All right.
I just want to know. Like, I really want to know. Like, look, I'm like 99% we just click out and like, you know, complete blackness like after we die. But like, I'd like to know. Like, I think it'd be like, I think it'd be cool. I mean, I agree. Like, probably we're a chemical reaction that has the perception of, you know, consciousness or whatever the hell you want to call it. But I don't know. It'd be cool to at least just like know one way or another, I think. And then I could be smug all the time and be like, I know. I'm not going to tell you because you didn't make the choice. So.
It's like that's how you're like, and I'm going to be smug about it.
Yeah, of course.
With those drugs around my penis.
Yes. I am not surprised you chose that, though, Dustin.
I am a curious person.
Also, if I choose the wealthy thing, then I guess we're both covered.
Yeah.
That's smart.
Right.
That's
so
smart.
You take one, I take the other. Yeah.
Looking out for each other. That's good.
Yeah.
Unless the caveat is I can't share it with you and I just give it.
No, don't do that. Share it with me.
I don't know what the small print is.
Yeah. And Andy asked the question, will I be rich in the afterlife? It depends on what you did. Depends on what the rules are.
I don't even. See, that opens up such a fascinating discussion. Yeah. It's not for here about the afterlife because I don't even think that no money. God, I hope that if there's an afterlife, there's no commerce.
Right.
Jeez.
I'm just hoping that Andy doesn't turn into a ghost and that I have to solve whatever like life crisis he has.
I mean, we know that if anyone's going to, it's going to be you who solves it because we know how you are with the ghosts.
Yeah.
And we know that Andy will come to you for the unfinished business. So.
Right. Do.
Yes.
Please.
Yes.
I want to help you. Yeah. I want to medium you if I can. Or Ghost Whisperer. Probably Ghost Whisperer was better. I'm going to just say it. I'm just going to put it out there in the hot take from 1994. The Ghost Whisperer was a better show than Medium was. So deal with that.
I've never seen either. So
one was Jennifer Love Hewitt. That was Ghost Whisperer, and the other one was Trisha Arquette. Is that?
Yeah.
Am I right? And both of them were basically just like a ghost comes and says some shit, and then you have to solve the problem by the end. But like,
really want that to be the marketing pitch for that.
Yeah. But the difference was that like in Medium she worked with the police, so like the ghost would come and she would go to the police and say like, "Hey, I think this happened," and then like, versus in Ghost Whisperer where she was basically trying to help them like all on her own. But the thing was like in Ghost Whisperer she would try and help them all on her own, and eventually it would happen. But in Medium, every single episode, she would come and say, "Hey, a ghost spoke to me," and this. And every single episode, they'd be like, "I don't know. I'm going to need more proof than that. I don't believe you." And it's like, we are 80 episodes into this fucking show. Believe her. Just like,
she's an expert
her.
at this point. Yeah.
Yeah. Why? It doesn't matter what crazy thing she said. She's been right the other 79 fucking times.
Yeah.
Like, just go with it for once
Believe
in your
women.
goddamn life. Yeah, exactly. Another one from Andy who makes a good point is, what if it's reincarnation instead of an afterlife? I think that'd be fun. That'd be fun. But like, I guess you won't even know where you're gonna get reincarnated, and then that could be like
Right. What if you get reincarnated as like something terrifying?
Yeah. I assume that you stay within your species, but or like your, whatever. Like,
Oh, that's
you come back
interesting.
to
I've always assumed that you like come back as other, like, I've assumed the opposite, that like reincarnation, if it is a thing that exists, you would like come back as something completely different, like a bug or something.
Yeah, then I would be super against reincarnation if that were the case, because I feel like we've already won. Like being a human. I mean, I guess maybe being a fish could be super fun, but I don't know. Do we move on to question number 3? Did everybody go on that one? Okay, so this is another like weird one. Okay, so here are your choices. You can either and this is one of those ones where as soon as I saw it, I was like, I have thought about this so many times. You can either experience an extreme amount of pain over 5 minutes or dull pain over 3 days. Like, it ultimately probably amasses to be like a similar amount of pain, but it's like you had to choose one. Which way do you go? I'm going to go to Joy first because I went to Heather last time.
Okay. I think I might regret this choice if it were like a real choice and this is what's going to happen to me. But I think I would go with 5 minutes of extreme pain, although 5 minutes is really long for extreme pain, rather than spreading it out for 3 days of feeling kind of awful. And I'm doing that based on, because I was sick like a few weeks ago and I've never felt that way before. And it wasn't like, it was extreme, but not really extreme. But anyway, it lasted for like 2 weeks. And I don't want to ever do that again. So I think I go with the 5 minutes and just get it over with.
Okay. Cool. Heather?
I hate this question. I don't know. Like, when we say dull pain, and I know we can't really ask like questions, but like when we say dull pain, are we talking about like a backache, or like what are we?
Yeah, I think it's like the equivalent of like, I would say it's probably the equivalent of like if you got the COVID shot, like that with the way that like your arm would hurt a little bit, like it would feel like you got punched in it.
So if we're talking like that kind of dull, then I would choose that, because that is like, as I get older, that's just life every day.
It just happens.
You just there's just aches, there's pains, you don't know why, they just exist. Whereas like and the fact that it's 5 minutes of extreme pain is like, that's terrifying. Like I don't know. But then there's the flip side to me that says, well, what if then like the dull pain like really starts to mess with, like, you can't sleep, you can't do things, and then it starts to mess with you psychologically. So that's why it's like, I don't know, it's a lose-lose.
Yeah, like it depends. For me, it depends on like where the pain is. Like, I've had a toothache, which isn't the most excruciating thing, but I couldn't sleep. Like, versus,
right. And that'll like
yeah, it fucks with your whole world. Versus like, I've had like a pain in my like foot where I was like, yeah, that sucks, I'll just stay
right, but you're like, okay, I'm dealing with it. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think for the sake of making a choice, I'll go with the dull pain for 3 days. But
okay.
It's a tough choice.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go with 5 minutes of extreme pain, because like I've always had that like I used to get headaches a lot. I used to get like migraines a lot, which is far more than 5 minutes of extreme pain. But like, I remember when I was experiencing it, it was like, I think I would rather just like have all of this pain all at once and then know I'd be fine. Like, even if it was like once a year, you'd have like all of the headache pain consecutively and then you'd be fine for the rest of the year. Like, that felt like a choice that I would always want to make. The problem that comes with it is, which I think Michelle's comment speaks to it really well. I'm trying to bring it up. Is the question of if there aren't any, like, she would go with extreme pain if there aren't any lingering after effects or health concerns. And that was always my fear with like trying to do all the pain at once, is like, will I have a PTSD afterwards? Like, will it melt my brain to be in pain for that long? You know, so that's the always fear. Like, like you said, like, you can always take dull pain for 3 days and it's irritating, but you'll always be able to make it through, versus like, you know, will you essentially be scarred emotionally like from going the other way? So, but I vote for 5 minutes of extreme pain, because
Come on.
what was that?
It's just background noise. It's just some background noise.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Well, that was our last question, guys. That's about the end of our show. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and Joy, thank you for joining us. It was great having you. I appreciate you jumping in and being super awesome. And yeah, thank you for everybody in chat for all your great comments, and for hopefully liking and subscribing and doing all those things that people tell you to do all the time on YouTube.
On the YouTubes.
And we will see you next week. And yeah, have a good one, guys. It's been really fun. Bye.
Bye.